with your new friend Ty.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Tea Party Podcast. It's the podcast where you find new friends and new music. And this week, I'm actually joined by an old friend, a Southwest Washington native who recently became a dad and has been releasing some great music in the meantime. I think he might be the most frequent guest of the show at this point, though. So let's welcome back FarmJammer Cort Carpenter. Cort, buddy, how are you?
My man, Ty, how you doing, buddy? I'm doing great out here in Nashville.
I am doing fantastic, and we'll definitely talk about what you got going on out there in Nashville, what's coming up with FarmJam, and the little guy that you've got when we tee off with Cort Carpenter next.
It's time to tee off with Ty and today's guest, Cort Carpenter. Here comes the first four.
Okay, here we go, buddy. Question number one of the first four. If you couldn't be in the entertainment industry, what job would you have?
You know, I went to school for a business degree, and I ended up with a communications/business degree. But I think I would own my own business of some sort. I always love to sell things. So, you know, I don't know what it would be, whether it's a taco truck or selling, you know, something else. But I love to make money turning over certain items, such as sports cards or concert tickets, stuff like that. I love just turning over profit.
Yeah, I was gonna say I could kind of picture you in like a sports store in like a small town.
There you go.
Okay, how about this?
I dig it.
If I give you control of the music at a party, what's the first song you're gonna play to kind of get everybody up and going?
Man, I listen to a lot of different genres, and I'm sure we've talked about that before, but I would say I would probably put on some Imagine Dragons, maybe the song Thunder or something. That gets people going every time.
Oh, that does. That's a good pick. So far, I haven't had anybody like come up with a really bad song in this question yet, so it's becoming my favorite.
Sweet.
Okay, if you could bring a character from any TV show or movie to life and hang out with them for a day, who would it be?
It would be Doug Heffernan from The King of Queens.
Okay, a little Kevin James fan.
Yeah, I'm a diehard Kevin. I would probably say I watch, and this, you know, when they're eating lunch or eating dinner or going to bed or feeding a baby or whatever. I'm watching 4 to 5 episodes a day. I have about 160 of them recorded, a lot of duplicates, but on my DVR it says King of Queens 172. So, you know, I love it.
See, we've been going through just kind of like as a family at night watching shows, and my kid really loves Brooklyn Nine-Nine, but we just finished it for like the 3rd time. So we're trying to find something else. I think King of Queens might be it. That's a good call by you.
It's a little, if you know, it's some people are like, no, I like Friends better, or I like Seinfeld. But you know, if you just love dorky humor and funny jokes, easy funny jokes, yeah, I recommend it. It's just my favorite. It's been my favorite for 15 years. I just love it so much.
Well, and I feel like that character is just Kevin James being Kevin James.
Yeah, I think you're right on with that, Ty, because it's you know, you see a lot of his movies and he has the same kind of humor, kind of like Adam Sandler. Mm-hmm. What you get with him, you know, every movie you get Happy Gilmore.
You know exactly what it's gonna be.
Yeah, and I love that. I love that myself. But yeah, King of Queens is my choice.
Okay, here we go. Last question of the first 4. If you could have an unlimited supply of anything, whiskey, tacos, guitar strings, diapers, whatever, what would it be?
Is money an option?
I feel like that's cheating.
Oh, yeah, you're probably right.
I will say, Jordan Rager tried to say the same thing, and I shut him down.
I would say, oh man, diaper. You said, you know, you mentioned I was a new dad. Diapers would be a good one at this point right now.
Yeah. That's why I threw that in there. Okay, there you go. That's always a good one too. Well, man, that was your first experience through the first 4. So thanks for playing with us. But now let's get to Cort Carpenter. Let's take a step back for anybody who's missed some of the other episodes, and just kind of give the Cliff Notes version of growing up in Longview and tell people how you got into music and how you got to Nashville.
Yeah. So I started out my entire life being an athlete. As a 3-sport athlete through high school, and I went to college for baseball. Ended up going to Oregon State out of high school, and then transferred to Lower Columbia College in Longview to play 2 years. And then I finished my career at University of Portland playing baseball and first base for the Pilots there. So that's what I did my whole life until after I graduated college. There was a little in between time there where, you know, I was hopeful to get to the next level with baseball and or find a job, and some things happened, and I ended up singing for fun locally back in my hometown of Kelso. And it was, you know, it was a domino effect of, hey, you should sing, you're really good. Or I'm not saying really good, this is just what was said to me. Keep singing, you know, let's get you a band. And then we got a band, and then we got a little regional booking agent, and then it just kind of snowballed into what it has become. So it's a weird story, but I never thought I'd be in the music business, to be honest. But besides the BS you have to deal with as an independent artist, I wouldn't change a thing.
See, and I think you're glossing over that baseball thing a little bit too quick, because I mean, even at the University of Portland, I mean, you're leaving out the fact that you were, you know, number 1 on the Pilots all-time career fielding percentage list with a perfect 1. Just 100. Nobody ever has a perfect number, so I never know how to say that.
So I think for fielding percentage, it's 1,000.
Okay.
It's weird how they do it, but hey, that is some good research right there. I'll tell you, no one's ever popped that stat up for me. So props to you, buddy.
Like, after you've been on so many times, I got to find something new or we're going to get bored.
That's true. Yeah. So that's a cool fun fact. At University of Portland, I played first base, and I ended up also getting, I think, second team West Coast Conference accolades. So, you know, the top 11 players get first team, the next 11 get second team. So I'm pretty proud of that as a Division I baseball player. So
yeah, I mean, that's a tough conference too.
Definitely. You know, playing the Zags and Pepperdine and San Diego, you know, it's tough. So it's always fun though, playing in that league as well, because you get to play the Huskies, you get to play the Cougars, the Beavers, the Ducks, any Division I team. So it was a lot of fun, but I'm proud of what I did there, but also proud of where I'm at now.
Definitely. I've got one more baseball question. What was your favorite place to travel to in that conference? Because I know you get to go down to like Malibu and NorCal.
Yeah. That's a good question. Malibu is a good one. Well, you know, that's where Pepperdine is, I believe. And that wasn't my favorite field. But you know, being in Malibu, you can't beat that.
I figured with as much as you love Hawaii, I thought like, okay, yeah. Beaches, like he's set.
Yeah. And another great one was Santa Clara was a nice field. I enjoyed playing there, but that whole conference is, you know, it's private schools, and they really do well, did a good job putting their fields together, and you know, they're all enjoyable.
Nice. Well, let's kind of take a turn a little bit and talk about your music now. I mean, you've been pretty busy during the pandemic. You'll be up here in the Northwest in less than a month, hanging out with us at FarmJam. I'm excited to see you back up here. I'm excited to hang out with you at FarmJam. How excited are you to be back up here in your home state playing a show like that?
Man, it doesn't feel real, to be honest. It's been, you know, we were supposed to play last year at FarmJam last September 2020, obviously canceled. And this year has just been kind of like let's hope we're gonna be there. We're gonna be there. Let's hope the, you know, restrictions aren't coming back or whatever, and at least we can get through these shows, because being home for a festival, especially something that's privately done. I know Greg up at FarmJam, him and his wife are doing a fantastic job putting that festival together, and it's a lot of work. So it's going to be a lot of fun getting up to the home state and really getting after it for really the first weekend, I guess first or second weekend back. I have one show this coming weekend, and then bam, we're in Nevada playing with Parmalee, and then we're in Colville with FarmJam. So it's going to be, to answer your question, it's going to be a lot of fun seeing the Pacific Northwest crew up there.
Well, and I'm excited to work with you. I'll be at FarmJam as sort of like the host in the crowd with a microphone kind of a guy. And I got a chance to see you from the crowd at Watershed at the Next from Nashville tent. And that was probably the busiest I've ever seen that tent. I mean, you really have this following here, just kind of all over Washington. But for those of you that haven't seen, for those people that haven't seen a Cort Carpenter show live, what can they expect at FarmJam?
Yeah, that's a great question. And, that before I answer that, Ty, that's been 2 years already. Can you believe that?
It's
crazy.
Just,
the time is flying. It's crazy. But what you can expect with my show is I try to make sure everybody in the audience is recognized. That's one of my goals. Whether it's me smiling at them, pointing at them, high-fiving them, singing to them, whatever that is. The second thing is they can expect a show with a lot of energy. I would say 75 or 80% energy songs, and then 20%, a few songs in that hour's time. We'll break it down and sing you a love song or something if we have time. But it's just a lot of energy, and it's something that I try to play as many songs that can connect with people. And I feel like my catalog has a lot of songs that really dial into people's emotions, which is the goal for me every time I write or record. So I'm looking forward to what FarmJam thinks, and hopefully they'll be raising up their koozies with me and partying along.
Well, and everybody that I've talked to that I've told you were coming back on the show, they all asked me the exact same question. So I feel like I have to ask you,
Yep.
Will there be koozies?
There will be koozies. I will, that reminds me, I got to get some made. My parents are making the trip over from Kelso. I think they're going to fly, but I think they're going to be driving over. So they will have the koozies in their car. So we will have a allotment of koozies for the FarmJam folks for sure.
Nice. And FarmJam released their schedule last week or the week before, and it looks like you're going on right before Tyler Farr. So they've given you a pretty prominent slot on Saturday.
Yeah, and when Greg and I discussed this last year, putting it on, or when he invited me out, I asked for a night, more of a nighttime slot, and he was kind enough to put me in front of there. And I feel that it's going to be a great combination of right before the Tyler Farr and then us right before him, just because we can get that stage just fired up, and then Tyler can come on and do his thing. So I know the entire weekend's full of amazing music. So I'm honored to be in front of Tyler, and it's going to be a blast.
It is definitely going to be a blast, and I can't wait. I know everybody that I've talked to is super excited about it. It's going to be a good time. And if you're still looking for tickets, just check the description of this episode. We'll make sure that we put the link in there as well. But Cort, you've kept yourself pretty busy during the pandemic, doing all sorts of things. One of them, you were playing live shows. I think that was inside of your garage with Tyler Slauson.
Yeah, we started in March of 2020, and I have a little Bose acoustic, or a little Bose system we plug in our gear to. So it started out in the garage, then it went to the living room, and then this past 7 months we've been in Tyler's studio. So it has evolved, and we at first we just didn't have the sense and the hookups and all that stuff to figure out how to do the studio version of our online shows. But now we're there, and it's been an outlet for us since we couldn't get on stage, and it's been a lot of fun seeing people every other week that come into our shows and are there to hear music, request our originals. And it was just what should I say? It was a blessing in disguise, because we got a lot of shows in 2020, and we got to connect personally with a lot of people that we usually don't, since we're always on the road.
Well, and it kept you guys pretty fresh, I would assume. I mean, there's a lot of artists that didn't have that outlet, didn't have that way to keep themselves fresh and kind of in the moment. And you guys found a way to do that. That's pretty unique.
Yeah, and I thought I talked to my guitar player Tyler Slauson about that, and he says, Cort, I don't see a lot of people when the pandemic first began. Everyone was doing it. It was like the thing. You get on Instagram Live, you get on Facebook Live, and man, you get on. Hundreds of your friends would be doing it. Mm-hmm. However, that phased out, and we never phased out. So we just kept it rolling on a steady show, and promoted it as like a different theme each week. We play different songs and open it for requests. So it just gave some people who were stuck at home for the last year something to look forward to, and I'm pretty proud of it. What we did and the new fans we made, and I guarantee nobody did more shows than Tyler and I that I know of. So
I can bet. Cool. Well, and I think we'd be a little remiss. This won't come out till next week, but we are recording on Tyler's birthday. So happy birthday, Tyler Slauson. Right.
Happy birthday, big guy.
So, while you were doing all of that, you were also working on a bunch of new music. One song that you released right before kind of the pandemic really hit was a song called One Thing. How much did the pandemic kind of change your plans for that song and then for releasing anything that you had coming out after that?
Yeah, I feel the pandemic slowed our momentum down. 2019 was a big year for us, just getting on that watershed stage next from Nashville, getting to play the main stage again at Oregon Jamboree. We had some other great things going with our electricity tour, and things were just popping off. But then the pandemic hit, and then One Thing, I think we released in March, if I'm correct, or February. That was a kind of a romantic song around the Valentine's Day holiday. And, I wasn't able to release as much music as I wanted to last year, but luckily enough, One Thing is very popular amongst the fans, and really think it came out well.
Well, and you might not have been able to release it last year, but you've kind of hit the ground running in 2021, starting with a song called Small Towners. But the one that really jumped out at me, especially with everything going on in your life specifically this year, is a song that you put out in May called The Road. Give us a story about how this song came about, and then I want to give everybody a chance to listen to it.
For sure. So that was in May. About in January, I had a write with Lucas Scott and John Allen Miller, two of my good buddies, and they're artists and producers and do the thing in town. And I came to the right saying, excuse me, I'm wrong on that. Lucas Scott and Park Wild actually wrote that one with me. I was getting a different song mixed up there, so my bad on that.
You've got so many this year.
Yeah, man, we've been busting them out here. But I came with the idea of like, hey, I want to write something about my future kid coming. And my baby was due in June, and they said, yeah, that sounds cool. Everyone needs every dad needs a song about their kid. So we didn't know the sex of the kid, and we kind of kept it, general to a point where I talk about my kid in the song, my future kid. I'm speaking to him or her, and everyone else could envision their own life in what I'm saying. So I tried to not make it so personal where, oh, this is only Cort's song and no one else can relate to it, but also anyone else feeling the pressures of what went on in 2020 and loss and all that stuff. So it kind of evolved into a really cool song called The Road, like you said. And, the chorus is, there may be forks along the road. You can get there fast, you can get there slow. Some take the winding back road, some take the long and narrow. So like just kind of saying everyone has their own path. And this song was me talking to my kid saying, hey, there's going to be ups and downs. You got to just keep going, because we all end up in the same place in the end.
Well, and that's what I appreciate about your music is it's a lot of your songs are very specific to you and what you're going through and what you're feeling. But at the same time, the way that you're able to work with your writers and to write it yourself in a way that kind of encompasses everybody, just like you kind of said with The Road, that it feels like that song, every time I listen to it, the first thing that comes to my mind is my kid. I mean, I'm not thinking, no offense, but I'm not thinking about Lux at that time. I'm thinking about my kid and how it all works and how crazy life is. And I think you do a really good job, especially with your songs recently, kind of honing in on that feeling of personal, I guess, struggle or strength, but doing it in a way that everybody can relate to.
Yeah. And I appreciate you saying that. When you said, you think about your son, that gives me goosebumps to hear that. So anyone that hears it, I think is going to get that, what you're talking about. And that's important to me to write like that, because personally as a music listener, I like to be able to, I'm not the guy in the song, and how he's making it sound, but I could envision myself in it, just like you mentioned. So I think that's important. And I've felt like this past, these past few years, I've really, like you said, been honing in on that and getting a good rhythm and getting people involved however I can.
Well, here, let's let everybody take a listen to it. This one is called The Road by Cort Carpenter.
I wake up every morning and I pray to God that you don't feel no pain. Love, I know we're not perfect, but today we're gonna try a little more. And you know I can't really wait to see all the person that you be. Love, take your time, cause we ain't in a race. It's okay to cry a little, but laugh a little more. You take what you take from my mistakes, cause every dust cloud settles eventually. There may be forks along the road, you can get there fast or get there slow. Some take the winding back roads, some take the long and narrow. Take in the view before it fades, cause the only given is today. In the end there ain't two lanes, there's only one way to go. Your heart is stronger than you even know. Sometimes the ones you wanna stay go, but you were born to lead, not follow, baby. There may be forks along the road, you can get there fast or get there slow. Some take the winding back roads, some take the long and narrow. Take in the view before it fades, cause the only given is today. In the end there ain't two lanes, there's only one way to go. You take what you take from my mistakes, cause every dust cloud settles eventually. There may be forks along the road, you can get there fast or get there slow. Some take the winding back roads, some take the long and narrow. Take in the view before it fades, cause the only given is today. In the end there ain't two lanes, there's only one way to go. In the end there ain't two lanes, there's only one way.
And that one is from back in May. It's called The Road by today's guest and farm jammer, Cort Carpenter. And Cort, since that song, we've talked about it. You had a pretty major change in your life. You got your own little guy by the name of Lux, and he's super cute. How are you and Kelly holding up in the first few months of being parents?
So we're about 6.5 weeks in, and man, the time is flying. It doesn't seem like it when you're up late at night and early in the morning feeding every few hours, but the time is flying. Lux is getting bigger, and it's just, man, it's like everyone told me before we had the baby, is it's something like you'll never experience in your life, and the love you'll have for your kid. And it's true, 1000%. Kelly and I are loving the parent life, and sometimes I have to pinch myself and say, hey, you're a dad now. And it's like, whoa, and you click back into dad mode kind of, because I've just never, it's brand new to me still. So it's so cool. And it's really neat watching him grow just even in these 6 weeks so far.
Yeah, I mean, fatherhood's crazy. It really does go so fast. My little guy just turned 8 at the beginning of July, and now he's in that stage where he's actually becoming like a little human that you can do things with, which is really cool. But I feel like I just put his first pair of hockey skates on him, last week, and that was 6 years ago at this point. Yeah, it's
sad. I mean, even we've started, with his first newborn clothes, and man, we're already on to the next the next stage of 0 to 3 months. You know, he's just outgrowing them so fast. So gotta hold on to those moments for sure.
And I'll let you know when that the ever growing thing stops. We bought Keller some hockey skates at the beginning of the year. They were size 1, and we just had to go trade them in for his hockey camp this weekend. They were 3.5, and we had to buy him 3.5s. So that growing never stops. It seems like, at least not to this point. But has Luck's gotten to the point where he's got his own little personality yet?
Yeah, he's getting there. He's starting to smile a lot more now, and he's smile. I mean, I know some kids don't smile yet, I guess, but he's playing peekaboo with us and will really put a smile on. He does have his moments when he's hungry, though, crying.
Definitely.
like bloody murder, but it's all good. We're really enjoying the hell out of it.
Well, and like being a dad is tough. And then you're going to be on the road quite a bit, moving forward. But I think kind of just like everything else, technology's made it just a little bit easier with FaceTime and stuff like that. But have you thought about, when everything starts to open up and you start getting back to playing shows, have you thought about a schedule or anything like that kind of gives you a chance to be home more often than not?
Yeah. So luckily, being an indie artist at the moment, you get to kind of make your own schedules. Or make your own schedule. And so what I did do for the September, we're going to be out 3 weekends of the month. And that's a lot, with a newborn here. However, we have Kelly's family, who's 3 hours up the road, who comes down to take my spot when I'm out of town. And my parents are going to be flying in to help when I'm on the road. But like I said, lucky enough, I can schedule a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, be back Sunday. So we're not missing weeks and weeks at a time away from my boy. He's just, they're little stints. Let's say that. And then in November and December, I'll probably do maybe 1 or 2 weekends a month for each of those, and moving forward until we get a routine down.
Nice. And is there anything that, now that you have Lux at home, is there anything that you wish you would have known before, you had the baby? Maybe some advice for some new dads out there?
Well, I guess the sleep thing for me, being with a musician schedule, it's tough to change your sleep schedule a little bit, just because you're used to being up late and then sleeping in a little bit, just because you have the luxury. But people said, you're going to be tired. Trust us, you're going to be so tired. And I was like, well, I'm used to it. But hey, they were 100% on. Kelly and I, the first few weeks, were just exhausted. And luckily, her mom was here for a couple of weeks. And then my parents were down here a couple of weeks ago, and they were here for 10 days. So they were able to help us catch up on some sleep. And while we're sleeping just for a couple hours here and there, Lux would be enjoying the grandparents. So I would just say, sleep until your baby is born, and then you'll maybe have enough energy.
There you go. That's pretty solid advice, actually.
Yeah.
But turning back to more of your music, a song that you just put out, it's called Sounds of My Hometown. And again, this is really similar to The Road, I feel like, where you were kind of writing and singing about a personal experience and personal feelings. Even on Spotify, they've got kind of like a background video of it, and it looks like, and I don't know if you set that up or if that was Spotify, but it actually looks like videos of Longview, which is really cool. But it's also written in a way that kind of anybody can think about their hometown that way.
Yeah, and I appreciate you enjoying the song. And that was the whole thing. This is the song where Lucas Scott and John Allen Miller came into the room. We're actually on a Zoom call, but the Zoom room, and we were like, I said, I want to have a song where talking about a hometown. I like hometown songs, and I do a lot of them, but one that's specific where when you're missing home, you can have that moment where you can close your eyes and hear the sounds that made you kind of. That's the point of the song. And we came up with a really good one, I think. And I'm really proud of this one too. I'm proud of all my music, but this song, like you said, kind of gets the listener thinking like, whoa, I hear Cort's football announcer yelling touchdown Carpenter or whatever in the song, but man, that takes me back to my days at Johnson High School or whatever, wherever you're from. But that was the point of the song, for the listener to be like, that's, what are the sounds that I hear, whether it's a tractor or ambulance or, whatever it is. But yeah, that's kind of the direction we went in it and had, and I think we nailed it.
I think so too. And here, let's let everybody take a listen to it. This one, brand new music from Cort Carpenter. It's called Sounds of My Hometown.
If I close my eyes, swear that I can still hear the sounds echo through the streets as our announcer yells touchdown. Whoa, whoa. The mill working crew in Longview never turned off those machines. Those southbound tracks could really scream like Axl Rose singing to me. Whoa, whoa. I can still hear the sounds of my hometown. Whoa, whoa, whoa. There's two bells at the diner. They've been ringing since '54. One means food is ready, the other means someone just walked through the door. Whoa, I can still hear the sounds of my hometown. Whoa, whoa, whoa. That's forever in my brain. I close my eyes every time I wanna hear that place. Damn, I miss that life, thank God that I can still hear the sounds of my hometown. Whoa, whoa.
There it is, brand new music from our buddy Cort Carpenter. It's called Sounds of My Hometown. And can we expect more new music in the second half of the year?
Yeah, before we move on, though, I'd like to say that last one was produced by my neighbor across the street, Blake Moeller. He's Mid-American Studios. He's got a studio right across the house there, and we did that. And it's really cool to be living across from a great producer like him. So shout out to Blake. But to answer your question,
definitely, I bet.
Yeah, let me tell you, Ty, with hot off the press news, I have a song that we're just about to start production with. We're getting all the details down, but it's not one I wrote. It's one my buddy Ryan Sorstad, who writes a lot of my music. Him, Golden West, and one of their friends wrote this song, and they sent it to me recently and said, "Hey, what do you think about this one?" And I was like, "I got to do it. I love it." So here's the title. It's called "Me and the Moon." So that's the song, and it's kind of sexy, and it's really a cool song. So I can't wait to get that out. And I'm going to try to get it out by the end of August, but we'll see how production works and whatnot as I try to release one song a month this year.
Okay, there you go. Hey, a new song right before playing a festival like FarmJam is not always a terrible thing.
Yeah. So we're excited about it. So Me and the Moon will be the next single coming from us, and mark your calendars.
Nice. And it's kind of a weird time now. And I feel like we've talked about this before, but it's kind of a weird time for releasing music because a lot of folks like yourself are just releasing singles because that seems to be one, as an independent artist, the easiest way to get your music out there and to spotlight every song, especially when, you know, your songs are so different, I guess. I mean, they've all got kind of the same feel, but you know, you can sing a song like The Road and then you can sing a song like Koozie, and you know, it's kind of all over the place, but in a good way. But there's still some artists out there that are just dropping full albums, releasing one single off of it at a time. And like I said, you've kind of, you know, made this world of releasing your songs as individual singles. Is that something that you anticipate continuing, or is there an album or an EP in the works?
Yeah, so I did three EPs before I started doing the single thing coming up. And so the reason I'm doing singles right now is, as an indie artist, just getting as much music out there as possible, like you said, getting different ones, trying to get one that hits, you know, whether it's The Road or Dollar Store or something, you know, whatever it is. We're just hoping for that one chance that it catches fire. So far, a lot of them are doing great. They're just slow momentum building. But I feel like eventually I'll try to get back into an EP because it is fun to record an EP and get, a whole batch of music out at once. However, it's also, as an indie artist, I feel I've went through those stints where you're not releasing any music. And when there's no new music coming out, I feel left out, if that makes sense. I feel like, you know, if you're out of sight, you're out of mind in a lot of ways. So right now, I think 2021, we're going to be busting out singles, but for the new year, I definitely want to work on an EP again.
Well, and honestly, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. As an independent artist, you definitely want your name out there as often as possible. And it's tough to land on some of those Spotify playlists or Apple playlists if you don't have new music out there. Really, it only takes, you know, that happening once or twice to really kind of build that momentum. And hopefully, as everything's kind of reopening, you've got all of this music coming out and people are seeing you live, that momentum continues to build for you in 2021 and into 2022.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you, man. Yeah, that's the goal. And we're going to keep our hopes high and just keep pushing.
Well, man, it has been, as always, an absolute blast. And I say this every time, but we always do it again. So we're definitely going to do it again in the future. We'll see it at FarmJam. But before we let you go, we're going to end the podcast the same way we always do, with the final four. Does that work?
Let's do it, man. And hey, thank you for having me again. I love being on with you. And I can't wait to see you at FarmJam. Let's have a beer.
Oh, definitely.
It's time for the final four.
Okay, here we go. First question of the final four. What's your favorite venue that you've ever played at?
Ooh, tough one. Do festivals count?
Absolutely, because I feel like I know your answer.
Yeah, I would have to say Watershed. But I played some great festivals. Watershed, and nothing against any of the other venues. It's my home state, so I got to. And being in the Gorge, there's nothing like it. Oregon Jamboree's up there. I love that stage, and also Rock the South.
There you go. See, like the Gorge is great, especially if you're from Washington. But even if you're from out of state and you go to the Gorge, everybody that I talk to that's been to the Gorge is like, yes, that's my favorite venue to go see shows at, to go play at. It's either that or Red Rocks every time.
Correct. Yeah. And I've never been to Red Rocks. I know my buddy Tyler has played there, and incredible, you know. But I feel the Gorge still has the upper edge, just from, maybe I'm biased with that, but I just feel there's nothing like it.
I agree with that. We'll say the Gorge is number one. Red Rocks can be like two, I guess, if we have to name two.
Yep.
Okay. You asked this question on your Twitter yesterday, I think. Chipotle or Qdoba?
I like them both, but oh man, for me, it's a toss-up, and I hate to say that and not give you an answer, but some days I love Chipotle, but I get tired of them. But some days Qdoba, if they have their summer mango salsa going,
ooh,
they're the 100% winner.
Okay, that's good. I saw it on Twitter. I was like, I don't know how to answer this, because I'm the same way. Like, sometimes I want to go to Chipotle and sometimes I want Qdoba, and even though they're kind of the same, they're super different.
Yeah, and I feel like Chipotle you know, I mean, it's consistent. You got that taste, the Chipotle taste. But Qdoba is surprising. Sometimes they can put together a great meal for sure.
Well, and like when you go to Chipotle, you know what you're going to get. Their menu hardly ever changes. I mean, it was world shattering when they got queso. And it seems like every time you go to Qdoba, they've got something new and fun to try. I think the last time I went, they had like barbecue brisket nachos.
Yeah, that is true. They change up the menu, and like you said, Chipotle has like 8 things on their menu. It's just like chicken, rice, bean, but they make it good. So
that's true. Practice makes perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Question number 3, and you can cheat with this one if you want to. Who are your 3 most recently played artists on your Spotify or Apple?
I would say Joe Nichols. He's always one. I'm kind of looking at it right now. Another one. Give me 1 second. Time.
Like I said, like you could totally cheat if you want to pull your phone out and look. Like,
okay,
totally okay.
I would say Joe. I have been listening to my oldies playlist again. I have a Spotify oldies playlist. I'm really big into 60s music, like 60s rock and roll, like the Beatles and Simon and Garfunkel, all that stuff. So that, and lastly, I would say it is these little downloads I did for my baby's sleep playlist, and they're kind of funny. They have they're like lullabies made into songs. So like Toby Keith, in the style of Toby Keith, and they're lullabies with the little baby sounds and stuff. So you got to check it out. And they're called Twinkle Twinkle Little Rock Stars, the band that does it.
That was my favorite playlist when my kid was little, because they do so many different ones. So like you can enjoy it and he can enjoy it. Yeah,
it's really neat. I just found a bunch of them last night, and it's like I was on there for like 2 hours trying to make a playlist. I'm like, oh, that one's good. So I guess to answer your question, Twinkle Twinkle Little Rock Stars on the number 1.
There you go, man. Okay, here we go. Last question, and this one's changed since the last time you've been on here, so you might have to think about it a little bit. But if you could pick one thing for people to take away from this podcast and your music in general, what would it be?
I would just say, if you've never heard my music, or if you have, pull it up on your Spotify, pull it up on iTunes, see what songs connect with you. I can guarantee many of them will. That's my personal guarantee, and get the word out there for me. That's what I always ask people, is just, that's how I can continue on and continue to do this as a career. My entire life is just getting my music out there, getting new ears, and hopefully sometime it finds the right ears that can propel me to the next level. So share it with your friends, keep spinning it as much as you can, even when you're sleeping. Have it playing in the background.
There you
go. So that's the thing. Just I appreciate everyone's support, and it means a lot to me.
Cort, man, this has been a blast. I can't wait to see you early next month now. God, we're less than a month away, or just about a month away here.
I think FarmJam. Yeah, there we go. It's going to be 1 month. We'll toast one up. We'll definitely have to get some pictures together, and let's party it up at FarmJam. It's going to be awesome.
Awesome. Well, can't wait for that. And guys, that was another episode of the Tea Party Podcast, the country music podcast, where you find new friends and new music like Cort Carpenter and his new song, Sounds of My Hometown.
Go tee off on the like button at facebook.com/Tea Party Podcast. This has been a Tea Party Communications production. Theme music created by Jesse Quandt. Announcer voiceovers by Jay Gwinn. And as always, hosted by Pisani.